Welcome back to my little channel. Today's video will be about something the Iconoclast said in one of his videos. Now, I am following the Iconoclast, I do like his work, I don't 100% agree with him, but he does make a lot of sense. And in his video, he was talking about how the English government is trying to make Islamophobia a racist crime. And in that video, he showed a little thing that I think he should have gone into with more depth. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is not about whether I agree with him or not. This is about something that is actually happening. He shows us a politician going by the name of Anna Soubry. And she apparently is a conservative. I have no idea how she is a conservative, but anyway. And he shows us a quote wherein Anna Soubry said, "If white British community learned more from Muslims, then the UK would be a better country," which in itself is an incredibly stupendous, really stupendous remark, because if the English community would have learned from the Islamic community, then I'm sorry, but we would still have slavery and we would still be living in the Middle Ages. It's not nice of me to say, but it is, unfortunately, very factual. Personally, I would have said, you know what, you could have gone deeper into this. But the Iconoclast didn't, and in a way I understand, because this is not what his video was about. It's not to point out how incredibly stupendous Miss Soubry is. But there's a second part to this. He shows a little video clip, and I will show it to you in a moment, wherein Miss Soubry is warning the world, as you say, that what she's seeing now surrounding Islamophobia, to her, is very reminiscent to the 1930s in Germany. And on this, I'm actually going to say that she is right, but she doesn't understand why she is right. And that's what this video is going to try to explain. Because I agree with her 100%. And I'm, in a way, sorry that the Iconoclast didn't pick up on this, but maybe he didn't realize. And again, as I said, his video wasn't really that much about this. It was more about the stupidity of trying to make Islamophobia a hate crime. But there's something to be said. Is the disliking of refugees now in any way similar to what happened in Germany in the 1930s? But first, I will show you her clip.
I've heard analogies with the 1930s, where you have a lack of leadership in a country, and then you have people feeling disenfranchised, that nobody properly represents them. Then the blame culture starts, blaming immigrants. As in Nazi Germany, they blamed the Jews. God knows what horrors could come out of these things if we don't get it right. So we've got to get it right.
I have to admit that a lot has been said in this short clip. So first off, let's start talking about what she means. What happened in the 1930s? Well, obviously, what happened in the 1930s in Germany, or in the Weimar Republic, was the rise of the Nazis. So I'm pretty sure that this is what she means. And she's talking about how this happened because the political leadership of Weimar Germany was at an impasse. It wasn't really acting, which is unfortunately very correct. And we are indeed seeing the same thing happening right now, where our politicians aren't really acting. They are merely going through the motion. Is that all? Well, she kind of does hint that because of this, there were scapegoats found. And the scapegoats, obviously, in Weimar Republic Germany, became the Jews. Well, not so much in Weimar Germany, but when Weimar turned into Nazi Germany, the Jews were blamed. And the Jews, only a few years before that, came to Germany as refugees. In a way, so far, everything she said has been correct. Now, there are two things then that we can take from her little clip. One, politicians aren't doing their job right. And two, the refugees became scapegoats. But let's draw this conclusion a little bit further. Because why did the refugees in Weimar Germany become the scapegoats of the Germans? And don't get me wrong, I will start by saying hashtag not all. I don't think all the Jews were complicit in Weimar Republic Germany and the hatred for the Jews was justified. I don't think all refugees in Europe are the problem. But unlike what Anna Soubry is trying to tell you, I will tell you that there were quite a few that were the problem. But first, let's go back to 1919. Now, you will notice this is a little bit before 1930. So what happened in Nazi Germany? Well, it wasn't Nazi Germany then. It was the Weimar Republic. And the Weimar Republic was in inner turmoil because, well, they had just ended the First World War and the Kaiser had to step down, so they needed to figure out what kind of political system their government would be. And there were basically two threads. There was the Republic and there was the Bolshevik-given socialistic drive. This is the whole thing. Germany was in turmoil because part of the Republic wanted to be a republic with, representation and whatnot, and part of the people there wanted to go into the way of socialism, communism, as the Bolsheviks had done in Russia. Now this is the funny part, because the Jews I was referring to earlier came from Russia as refugees because they were part of the Bolshevik Revolution and they didn't feel safe anymore. And then when they were in Germany, how did they repay the German people for their generosity of letting them into their country? The Spartacus Revolution was basically a Bolshevik revolution trying to take power in Germany. Now the Spartacus Revolution got combated by the Freikorps, and Freikorps were basically soldiers that came home from the First World War, and they fought back. They weren't politically affiliated with anyone at this time. They merely fought back for their country. And this is the idea that Anna doesn't want you to have. But this is the reality of how the Nazis came to power. I'm in no way a fan of the Nazis. They did a lot of things wrong, and to me, any form of socialism is a problem. So yeah, National Socialism is a problem too. I don't have a problem with nationality though. I mean, in this way, I might be more of a fascist in the Giovanni Gentile version of the whole idea. But I'm never in favor of excluding a whole ethnicity. But to pretend that the whole ethnicity cannot be made to recognize reality is beyond stupid. Because what we saw in Nazi Germany is that the people opened their country for a certain group of people that came as a refugee. And these refugees thanked their host by becoming cancerous, by killing people, by terrorizing people. Now this is the analogy that Madame Soubry didn't want you to think about. But funny enough, it is the analogy that she brought up. Because if we look at Europe now, why do so many people in the world have a problem with refugees, in the Western world anyway? And if we look at the UK, why do so many people in the UK have a problem with Islam? Because a lot of people do. And once again, hashtag not all Muslims, hashtag not all residents of the UK, but hashtag too many. Because let's be honest, if we look at the grooming crimes that have been happening throughout the UK, yeah, 90% of that were Muslims. And the people know this. Now, hashtag not all Muslims. I know not all Muslims are in favor of grooming gangs. But to deny the fact that this happened is basically what brought to rise the Nazis in Nazi Germany. Because it wasn't the Weimar Republic that crushed the Spartacus revolution. It were the Freikorps. The government didn't do anything, the people did. So in a way she is right. We are seeing a period of time where the governments aren't acting in the best interest of their own people. And we are seeing people standing up more and more, whilst the government is telling them more and more, no, you're not allowed to stand up. That's something o-ists or something o-phobic. And people are more and more feeling that their government is indeed out to get them. This is everything that set the stage for the fascists in Italy and the Nazis in Germany. And these politicians are playing right in the hand of it. Do you want to stop this? Then stop placating to the refugees. I'm not saying refugees aren't welcome, but if you are in our country, in the Western world, you live by our rules. If you cannot do that, we need to crack down on you, just as we would on everyone else that doesn't live by the rules in our country. And the inability and the unwillingness of our governments to do this is what is giving rise to the right. At this point in time, though, it's not the right that is standing up, it's the centrists, just as it was during the rise of fascism in Italy and the rise of the Nazis in Germany. It were the centrists that rose. But the movement got hijacked and it turned far right. Do you want to stop this from happening, Madam Soubry? Then get in front of it. Don't try to demonize it, because by demonizing it, you're just spurring on the movement. You're making it happen faster. You want people to stop hating Muslims? Then crack down on the criminals within the Muslim community and stop trying to pander to them. And if something happens in the UK, stop saying it were Asians. Call it what it is. By doing so, you take away the power of the right-wing extremists, as you would like to call them, to capitalize on your inability to act, because you're actually acting. But what you're doing now is promoting your inability to act and blaming people that they are recognizing your inability of acting. Now, I wanted to tell you more about the Spartacus revolution, obviously, but I've been busy for more than 10 minutes on this little rant. I have a video out on the Spartacus revolution. Link will be in the description. It will link you to Cocoscope, because I really like to push that piece of social media as well. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome. I really hope the Iconoclast will see this video. I'm going to post it to him. If anyone else knows how to reach him, please make him see this. I am curious of what he thinks, whether he agrees with me or whether he disagrees with me, and why. Because I really think that this is the true issue. And this has been the true issue for the last 100 years in Europe. We are fighting an ideological battle with neo-Marxists, socialists and communists, Bolsheviks, over what we are and are not allowed to do within our country. Now, this is not anti-Jew, this is not anti-Muslim, this is, however, anti-Bolshevik. I wanted to say something else, but you know what? I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share and subscribe if you feel so inclined. And I won't have links in the YouTube version of this video, but if you want links, you can contact me. Downstairs is the information where you can contact me. I can provide you with information. You can look it up yourself, though. Look up the Spartacus Revolution in Weimar Republic, Germany. And be amazed. Seriously. I mean, I know I was. We are being lied to by our educators, by our politicians, and by our media. And the worst part is, it's hurting everyone. It's hurting the refugees that we want to help. It's hurting the people that want to help the refugees. And it's creating an atmosphere that is only breeding hate. Now, I don't want to hate people. And I don't want people to hate me. But I want to be honest with people. And if I can't do that, then what the hell can I still do? Anyway, like, share and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome. And I hope to see you all next time.